Okay, this is BN Plus Q&A episodes, which will be exclusively available for only BN Plus members. I mean, the entire episode will be available only for BN Plus members, but we will share our thoughts about the previous EuroLeague night, which was awesome, which was very entertaining, with a lot of close games that decided playoff matchups, top 8 seeds, and a lot of stuff. So we must react to what happened yesterday. But before we start, just a short shout out to our BN Plus members who support us on All-Star and GM levels, which is Paulius Tinteris, Hufvan, Kristas Pukitis, Gabrielius Serva, Sports Cards Time, Luka Šučević, Janut Georgescu, Alex Tsirigotis. So join us on basketnews.com/plus to get those entire Q&A episodes that we're recording right now, and also a lot of extra features, including articles that you have to pay for, and a lot of stuff that is going to be published during the playoff time. So just before we start, what would be your main takes, reactions from Thursday night, right?
Yeah. First of all, how on earth Fenerbahce didn't close the game in the fourth quarter? that charge, offensive foul by Tyler Dorsey, basically changed the momentum of the game and gave some hope for Zvezda. And they had to win that game. I mean, in the overtime, it was a different story. Zvezda almost dropped the game all of a sudden. However, Fenerbahce, basically their whole season was put on the last shot by Nick, a three-pointer by Nick Kalaitis. That's what you're depending on in the last possession. However, of course, later when everybody got the news that Baskonia lost to Olympiacos, Fenerbahce was safe. They are in the playoffs, but I think the drama in that game in Belgrade was amazing, and at the same time, it makes you wonder if Zvezda, with this roster and the quality of basketball, could be in the playoffs. I mean, watching them last night, watching Facu doing all these clutch plays, I thought to myself, like, they're playoff material, but they're not going to make it. So,
Some would say that they're championship material.
I mean, I don't know about championship, but they deserve some respect because they played these last games with a lot of motivation and they played them seriously, with passion, with heart, obviously in front of their home crowd. And they ended the season by beating Olympiacos and Fenerbahce. So for that, they do deserve respect, because it's very easy to give up when you don't have any hopes to make the playoffs. You can just play the last games as they don't matter, but they didn't do that, and that's good for the league.
Man, they deserve a lot of respect, because watching them play against Fenerbahce, it felt like that Zvezda playing for the playoff qualification, not Fenerbahce. The intensity, the physicality, the passion, also, of course, it involved the whole crowd. I mean, people throwing some stuff at Jonathan Motley, shooting crucial free throws.
That shouldn't happen. I mean,
in the ideal world, after this happens, I think the team should finish the game in empty arena, because it's like unacceptable at the hottest moment of the game, crucial game for Fenerbahce, for instance. The guy is shooting the free throws that can decide the game, and you kind of have to be worried about if fans will hit you with the things they're throwing on the court or not. I mean, this is not about the basketball at all. But anyways, besides of that, I mean, this whole team, this passion that they showed, it was something which you should put as an example for everybody, how to play your hearts out. And I really enjoyed watching Zvezda, and watching them, especially I enjoyed watching Luka Mitrovic. We had this discussion with August having a EuroLeague watch party. That's if I'm Partizan, for instance, I'm doing everything in my power to bring Luka Mitrovic to Partizan to be a backup for Matias Lesor, because it's an ideal backup center for the Serbian team in the EuroLeague, because Luka Mitrovic has all the tools to be a great player coming off the bench, with his mobility, with his physicality, effort, defensive presses, and passing as well. So a lot of things to joy from Zvezda's side, but at the same time, I mean, they've been like maybe 2 wins away from making the playoffs. And when you look at their record and their results, and you see them dropping 2 games against Panathinaikos, 1 game against Alba, 1 game against Bayern Munich, the bottom 4 teams, it just shows that every game matters in the EuroLeague.
That's crazy. I mean, and I think they lost also as well in the same run against 2 Italian teams who were not, let's say,
although they played away,
shape.
so I mean, you cannot count them out as teams that you must win against, but still,
but
it hurts.
Right now, you remember watching yesterday's game and just speaking about Zvezda's season, you kind of imagine that the picture of yesterday's game, which was going up and down all the game, one team leads by 10, the other comes back, then another run plus 10, another tie game. It just shows Zvezda's season. It was really up and down, Start of the season, really bad. Duško comes, really good. Then you have Campazzo comes, should play, does not play, really bad. Then he starts to play. Then the end of the season was really good. So there was no, there was either really good or really bad for Zvezda, like yesterday's game we saw. There was even 4 timeouts, I think, in 3 minutes in the third quarter. If I'm not mistaken. And speaking about Serbians that made a huge impact, Onyan Dobrić yesterday. What a game by him. And it was interesting, he played at the free position for Zvezda. He was knocking down threes and hurting Fenerbahce on the offensive side. And then Itudis said, okay, you are hurting us on the offense, we're going to make you pay on the defensive side. And Hayes Davis suddenly starts playing at the free and starts hurting them, Zvezda on the other side. So it was a really nice detail that went down in the fourth quarter. And Campazzo, not like, he wasn't that confident, I think, against the switching defense, but he made all the right plays in the end. And that was the same play they ran all over again in the fourth quarter. At the end of the fourth quarter, that guard-to-guard screen where he was driving and made the layup.
Do you think there was a foul as well? Looked like Rytis touched him.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's enough.
I mean, that would be very brave for a ref to call at the end of the game. But I'm just saying that maybe you have a case.
You could have it,
because you saw Faku's reaction that he was showing that he was clearly fouled, and to me it looked like maybe, yeah.
But maybe with the game, being refereed this way from the start, physical battle, maybe it's not enough in the last seconds. And in the last seconds, if you're driving at the rim,
you don't get a call.
You have to get hacked to get free throws. So,
I agree.
So but it was a nice moment where Zvezda just ran the same guard-to-guard screen like 4 times in the overtime, and basically 3 times they got something. So from Fener's point, this is something concerning to look before the playoffs, because I remember in the game against Baskonia as well, if they switch, there are too many, errors defensively when they're not communicating until the end. And so this will be my, watching point for them in the playoffs.
Obviously, we were following all these games, also knowing that the outcome for Žalgiris is being
really
decided during that time. And so people were cheering for Zvezda, for Olympiacos. All of a sudden, when Zvezda got the win, people started cheering for Baskonia because there are Lithuanian players on the team, And as it was said, like Kazys Maksvytis talked to Rokas Giedraitis before the game, and they've discussed that there is a possibility for both clubs to be in. Now we know that it's not going to happen, and I was pretty sure that Olympiacos will win the game. You heard all these pre-game comments from Shaq McKissick, from Bartzokas. You knew that they are taking this game seriously. They won the first seed. So even though Marcus Howard had some amazing runs in that game, I never felt like Baskonia can actually make it happen. So basically Zvezda and Fenerbahce was the hottest game yesterday, in my opinion. And I did like some stuff that Fenerbahce did. As you mentioned, Hayes Davis. I mean, this game just proves what a complete player he is right now, and what a huge contrast in comparison to how he was used last season, let's say in Barcelona, or even in his Žalgiris days, when he had some like scoring nights, but you didn't really see him as this big offensive weapon that he is right now for Fenerbahce. So just in my opinion, Fenerbahce had to win that game at the end of the regulation.
They had the game in their hands.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
That steal by Nick Kalatis and then was amazing from behind, reaching in. I don't know how he made that one steal. He had an amazing game, 11 points, 12 assists, 3 steals. That's a incredible stat line for your point guard. Confident shooting the 3 of 8. It's not that bad. I mean,
and he
had to shoot in that last possession because they closed the gap for Guduric.
Yeah.
So he had to shoot that 3. He did. He missed, unfortunately, but great game for him. And I have a question for you guys. I mean, Fener is playing last game. Hayes Davis played 40. Daishan Pierre played 40. And yesterday, basically, 6-man, a rotation of 6 players. Motley 38. Hayes Davis 42. Daishan Pierre 29. Marko Guduric 28. Dorsey 35. And Kalatis 37 minutes. Do you think 6-player rotation plus Tony Ejekiri playing 10 minutes, for a series that could potentially go to 5 games?
But they're missing Vilbekin. They're missing Nemanja Bjelica. So there were more players injured. So you could add them to the rotation.
I wouldn't put hopes
Wilbekin
on
is coming
Bjelica,
back.
Yeah,
honestly.
Bjelica is just big name. But I mean, Vilbekin's presence is not questionable.
I'm actually a fan of 8-man rotation when the playoffs come. And 7.5.
Even, yeah.
7.5, you can say. So I don't see a big problem here, honestly. Obviously, Tudis knows his players very well, and these players that play full 40 minutes, they play for a reason, because they can. And you don't really see Hayes Davis going down, let's say in the fourth quarter, or even in the overtime. So he's capable of doing that. And when you play a series, let's say you play Tuesday, Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, you play two games away, and then 1 or 2 games at home. So I think there's enough time to recover, to prepare, and I wouldn't be a big fan of expanding the rotation just for the sake of it. You just need to take some minutes off one player, so you put an extra man in the rotation. And I think some of these guys, even though I like the talent of Carson Edwards, for example, I wouldn't really trust him right now to play big minutes in a playoff game.
It doesn't seem like Itudis is trusting him.
He was yelling during the game. It's crazy. But yeah, and also we're missing Devin Booker. He's also injured, so
he will be back. So Wilbekin and Booker should be back.
Yeah.
So
and then you're good with
big man rotation.
Is great.
Good with Motley, Booker, and Jekiri as a backup center. I think they're fine. And you always have the option to play Hayes Davis as a 3, as a 4. The same goes with Daishan Pierre.
Last thing about Hayes Davis, just I checked the stats now. 3-point stats. He had 45 attempts from 3 last season with Barcelona. He has 41 makes this year with Fener, so he's probably going to surpass. And he did it in 3 more games with Barca. So he's probably going to surpass his makes with attempts from last year. He had 11 of 45 last year. He has 41 from 104 this season with Fener.
Do you think he improved? Do you think he improved as a post-up player?
It was just a short part of the URBONUS episode. If you want to watch the full episode, join our BN Plus community on basketnews.com/plus.